Hi guys, and thanks very much for checking out another episode of Kettlebell Sport Talk. This week I was joined by a great guest, a fellow coach who's based in the northeast over in Teeside. I really wanted to get him on because he's one of these people that I clicked with straight away, but he was one of these coaches that helped me back in 2017 when I was preparing for World Championships over in South Korea. He helped me design an Olympic lifting program that was really specific to what I was trying to get out of it for the needs at that time. Really understanding guy. He's got a great thing going over, and we chat through all things coaching, buy-in. We talk a little bit about his business because he's looking at scaling it up, taking it to the next level. So we have a really good, interesting chat about all things training, business, and really creating a really solid training community so your clients get the most out of it, but also how you can utilize that in your own kettlebell sport training and really maximize your own training as well. So this, like I say, this week I'm joined by Warren Nightingale, so a fantastic S&C coach and performance coach up in the northeast in Teeside, so highly recommend it. He runs a place called Teeside Barbell Club. You can get him on all of the usual places, Instagram, Facebook. Hope you enjoyed the episode, guys. I know I took a lot from it, and it was just great to chat to another coach who's got like sort of a similar ethos to myself. So let's get stuck straight in, guys, and hope you enjoy. All right, guys, thanks very much for checking out another episode of Kettlebell Sport Talk. I've got a brilliant guest with me today. We're going to be chatting about all things Olympic weightlifting and the importance of training in a really good group environment, and actually how that can get you massive results more than sometimes what training can do itself. As always, guys, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify just so you don't miss an episode. But today, joined by a good friend of mine over at Teeside Barbell. Warren, mate, how you doing, mate? How's life treating you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thanks. Great.
Good. So you're feeling better now, mate? We were meant to do this podcast a little bit earlier, wasn't it? But you got brought down by the feast bug of Teeside.
Yeah. Apparently, it's gone round a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's it, mate. That's it. So just for the sake of the viewers, obviously, you run a club over in Teeside. Teeside Barbell Club. I think I got introduced to you just through wanting to improve my Olympic weightlifting and stuff, and obviously, but following your stuff, the big ethos on group training and getting the most out of your clients and stuff. So yeah, just want to sort of chat through that, mate. So how did you sort of get started in the Olympic lifting? Let's tackle that first, mate. How did you get started in the old Olympic lifting journey?
Well, I started off just going to the gym, same as anyone else, just looking to lose a bit of weight, get a bit of definition. After I've been doing that for a while, I got bored with it really quickly because I was just doing the same things as everyone else in the gym. Ended up tackling Thai kickboxing after that. Went from that to gymnastics. And then after doing a bit of gymnastics, I started spotting a little bit of weightlifting that was becoming more present because probably CrossFit was really growing at the time then. Yeah. And then I started dabbling in a little bit of the weightlifting, realizing how challenging it was. But it was the challenge that actually brought me to it, because it was something that was, you couldn't just do it and master overnight. It was something that you had to practice. It made me more willing to try it and more focused on actually pushing myself to progress a little bit more.
Nice, mate. Nice. I think that's probably similar to myself in terms of the kettlebell lifting as well, because one of the guests said it before. What kind of gets people hooked is it's kind of the numbers don't lie, do they? Do you know? You're moving better, or snatch is feeling better, or you jerk clean or whatever's feeling better, and you've actually got those specific numbers in front of you. You can actually, every single session, you can kind of improve. Do you know? But I mean, obviously going into that, what was the biggest learnings that you had early on in terms of, all right, I really enjoy lifting heavy shit and putting it above my head, but what was it that's kind of got you hooked in terms of like, right, okay, was it the movement, or was it the trying to add more weight to the bar, or was it a mixture of all of those?
I think it's just the progression of the movement. So like for some of the movements, it's really challenging to be able to get into those positions. And when you do it and you just load the weight on the bar, like you'll see this a lot of times in CrossFit, you'll see guys load the weight on the bar, but their upper back starts around. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get injured, but it probably means that there's a functional fault somewhere that they need to fix. And it was just like that appreciation for that. And I was just like, I was always interested in movement as a whole. So I love things like gymnastics. I love the general gym training. I love people who go out running and do all these different types of things. But I'm really interested in how they move when they do those things. And generally, when you see that people do these things for a long period of time without taking into account that movement pattern, then they develop these faults. And for myself, I had a massive one in my hip, which a powerlifting competition, I ended up injuring myself, and it helped me learn so much about myself and start implementing that within our programs.
Yeah. Ah, nice, mate. Nice. Like the comparisons are like so similar. It's kind of scary. But so obviously, and then we met when I sort of reached out to do that Olympic lifting program, and I took that on board and started doing that pre-World Championships in 2017 before I went off to Korea. And one thing that I found was actually the postural strength that you get from Olympic lifting, the crossover was massive. But what I really liked about it was the time that you took on actually assessing my movement and seeing what I could and couldn't do. Is that something that you generally run throughout all of your programs with all of your clients? Just kind of actually, let's see where you're at, let's run through something, and then I can design something that's specific to yourself?
Yeah, so I mean, when we first started doing the strength program, and what we would do is we would have an intake of like 2 weeks where we'd test someone's movement. But generally, what we do now is like we modify all the movements and make it as basic as we can, but obviously still making it challenging for the person. And if we find that they're able to do that movement, we push them on to the next one and then the next one within the same session, until we see that breakdown of movement, because I can spot it much faster now. So if someone's got a problem with the lower back, it's obviously it's just a case of fishing where that's come from, what's causing that problem. Are they right-handed? Are they left-handed? What difference does it make how they're standing on the feet? Do they have a child? I mean, I train a lot of women, so a lot of women hold a child, and if they hold that child on one hip, you got to bear in mind that child's always grown, so that weight is always increasing on that hip, and they're always standing on that side, and there's no compensation for that. So when you come to do some training, you've always got that compensation as you're doing a weighted movement, which is going to lead to higher risk of injury.
Yeah. So obviously that's really interesting. That so you're kind of your movements sort of assessment, if you like, in a session, you're kind of progressing them until you get to that tipping point. You find the tipping point, and then you're sort of saying, right, okay, this person fits in this bracket, so then I'll go here. Or is that tipping point the prompt where you jump in and go, right, I need to find a little bit more about X, Y, and Z, or do you try and do that before the session?
No, we try and find it out during. Like, so most of the time, a lot of people haven't really thought about it before, so it's really difficult to say to someone, have you got back pain? Like, it's a really arbitrary question to ask someone that. So I don't generally ask the questions anymore. Obviously, we ask them before they start the training, because that's just a health and safety thing. Yeah. But it's just a concern that we have prior to the session, right? We know what we're sort of looking for. Like, are the feet collapsing when they do a squat? Which knee comes in when they're doing a squat? Is one hip slightly lower than the other when they're doing something like a step up? Once we understand these things, we can start building the program around the person, as opposed to just producing a program for the group and everyone doing the same type of movement.
Okay, nice. And obviously, you're saying there you've got quite a lot of females. There's a big, massive surge I've seen in terms of female strength training and stuff like that. So kind of, how are the ladies receptive to that when you sort of saying, right, okay, this is how we're going to take you from here to here, hopefully get you shifting some big weights? How are they quite receptive to that? Or are they very much like, I thought I was meant to have like pink dumbbells and do flies and stuff, do you know? Because that's obviously the stigma with it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But gladly, it's breaking down and stuff. But what's that initial reaction you tend to get with a few females and stuff? That
some of the females say the weight's too heavy for them once they see the weight that's on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get females every now and again. They're picking the dumbbells up and they look at the weight that's on it and go, I can't lift that. even before the try. And I mean, that's a mindset factor. It's nothing to do with gender or anything like that. I actually laughed at first when you mentioned it, because I find it a lot easier to teach females than I do males, because males are all ego driven. So as soon as I say, right, there's a breakdown in your movement, let's not go up in the weight, they get a little bit ego driven and think, well, I can go up in the weight, I can go up in the weight. And I've had that in the past where I've trained male members as PT clients, and I've asked them to go away and do some mobility exercises. They've come back to the next session, not done the mobility exercises, and then expected to push the weight a little bit further. But then it just leads to injury. So like for ourselves, it's a little bit pointless to go down that avenue. But it's not something that we've totally shunned, like with us only going for the females. It's more due to the size of the facility.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Nice, mate. Nice. And one thing that's obviously jumped out to me hugely is the network and that atmosphere and that people pushing each other and helping each other along and stuff. How do you go about creating that sort of atmosphere? Because obviously when I saw members coming in, they're just like sort of buoyant and ready to rock and roll. But how do you sort of create that atmosphere to make sure that everybody's supportive of each other? Or is it just sort of something that tends to come organically for yourselves?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's organic, but I think partly it's got to do with different personalities. So you've got to get to know the people that you work with. For some of the members like we had, I mean, our membership base has increased more than, I'd say, about 150% now since January. So we've had a massive increase of new members. But within that, like there's a lot of nervous people who you've just got to reassure and keep on an even keel. And then there's the other members who are a little bit more aggressive, who want to go for it. And it's great to integrate those people, because they know what it was like when they first started. So it's great to have members who've been with me for 5 years and know what it was like when they first started off, the apprehension, the nervousness, to see in other people, to just appreciate how far they've come. But it's also good for the new members to see how far they can actually get to.
Yeah, so you kind of almost doing like a before and after kind of thing straight away in front of their real-time eyes kind of thing, isn't it? Do you know?
Yeah.
Ah, nice, mate. Nice. And those guys who have got quite a bit of experience, are you happy with them to do little bits of coaching? Obviously not full-on hands-on, but do you try and encourage them to try and help out the people next to them, just to try and coach and give them that bit of feedback? Or is everybody kind of in the zone when they jump into your place and just jump straight in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of coaching, like we'll listen to what the members are doing, and we always try and teach the members. So if they're doing a movement, we'll get them start spotting each other. We teach them all the basic principles of like movement. If someone's lifting a weight, etc. Like, let's say you're doing a bench press, someone's standing over them. We just make sure that someone stood over them in the right place at the right time. They're watching the right things, and then they can guide them through that. Because our whole philosophy around this is training all of our members so that they have the confidence and the abilities to design a workout and to go into any gym anywhere and train with confidence. Yeah. That's all we want to do, is inspire confidence. The rest of it comes with ease. Like I think that the natural progression that we run everyone through to get them stronger, the natural progression that we take everyone through to lose them weight, as long as they follow those principles, those are going to happen naturally. The biggest factor that most people struggle with is the confidence issue about going and doing it elsewhere.
Right, okay. So it's kind of giving them more tools, giving them, obviously, build that proficiency in your sessions under your guidance, with then the realization that actually I can, no matter where you stick me, you could stick me on the other side of the country, give me a gym and I could do a workout.
Yeah.
Nice, mate. Nice. That's awesome. Nice. And what sort of feedback do you get from that? I bet that's pretty good, a feel-good factor. Is it just sort of somebody turning around and went, oh, I was on holiday or I was away with work and I found this session and this is what I did? Do you sort of look at it and go, damn, she's written a better program than me? Or
yeah, I mean, it's great to know that people are still going away and thinking actively about the lifestyle. Like, I do tell everyone that it's not all about the gym. It doesn't have to be all about overcoming weights. You don't always need weights to do things in the gym. And just because I'm pushing that out on my page, on my profile, it doesn't mean that that's the right avenue for absolutely everyone. I mean, we have a member who left the gym in September. She's gone off to Sydney in Australia. She lives there now, and we've still sent her out like a little program to guide her on a way to get her started over there, and she's still part of our Facebook community now.
Yeah. That's awesome, mate. That's awesome. So you're setting up a Teeside Barbell Club out in Sydney then, mate?
Oh, I'm all over that.
Mate, I think the comparisons, Teeside and Sydney, mate, surely you'd rather be on Teeside any day of the week, wouldn't you, mate? Yeah, let's move on. So I know, obviously, part of the big membership increase for yourself was you've moved facilities. Is that right? You've moved to a sort of a bigger place.
No, we haven't actually moved yet. We were looking for somewhere. We were digging into it, but what we did is we've just renovated where we're at now.
Right. Okay. Nice.
So I mean, like our landlord, we're in talks with the landlord. We're looking to get a bigger premises at the minute, but we haven't actually moved. So
right. Okay.
I mean, basically, the way we thought about it was just to create the problem of needing more space before we actually got it. So rather than just get the space and then have to fill it up, rather fill up what we've got here, till we're overflowing, and then make sure that we've got enough time to basically grow into a bigger space.
Nice, mate. Nice. So that was that a tough decision for you to sort of hold back and stuff? Because if you're anything like me, the opportunity to buy new toys, buy bars and stuff like that is unbelievable.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when we got all the new equipment and stuff, it was great. It's great to have all the new equipment, but there's still so many things that we just think, oh, this would be good. But I think the main priority is just to keep it as basic as possible, but obviously to get the results for the members. Yeah. So we've actually just reined ourselves in a bit, and then just kept it a little bit more basic, and just used the tools that we've got.
Nice. Okay. So what do you sort of see as the development for the gym with that? Is it kind of go to a bigger scale of what you've already got, or do you see yourself adding more facets in there and stuff? What's kind of the vision for Teeside Barbell Club in 5 years' time or something?
So like the next step that we would move to is a bigger facility, but then with we're hoping to have 2 spaces, so we can have a male and a female program.
Right.
But then depending on the space and depending on how we use it and how we go about it, we'd have either a conditioning area or a free training area where our members can actually train from. I mean, I don't want to distance myself too much from the fact that we're strength training and we're movement training, because that's what we're trying to specialize in. And I don't think loads of strings attached to the bow, as people say, is the best way to go. I mean, for some people it works out absolutely fine, but for me, I understand strength training. I understand the basics of nutrition to get people the results around weight loss. Yeah. And once I start teaching those principles and I nail down on those principles, I can help people a whole lot better than just trying to help a massive wide population of people that are doing so many different things.
Okay, so it's kind of using the same principles that you've got for training actually in the business as well. So let's just stick to the fundamentals, stick to what we know, stick to what works, and then just try and scale it that way. Because I mean, the reason why I want to ask that question is quite a few of our listeners are gym owners, or they might be thinking about getting a facility or increasing and stuff like that. I know it's a battle I always have, but it's not as easy as what you think, is it? When you're running your own facility and stuff, there's quite a lot of things in there, and I think what you've just touched on there and touched that fundamentals of doing what you do and just focusing on that and being really specific is what will drive the growth as well anyway.
Yeah. I mean, when you're starting out, you always think that your customer base is going to be a lot smaller than it actually is. But when you start nailing down on what it is you're going to do, whether it's kettlebells, whether it's boot camps or anything like that, you start nailing down and you start finding out who your audience actually is. And this is something that we did. We have business mentors now. This is something that we did with them, and they helped us basically target our target audience, find out who they are, find out their age group, find out what their demographics are and stuff like that, and actually speak more directly to them. Because if you just put an advert out and say to someone, "Oh, look, we'll help you lose weight," but what type of person are you actually talking to? Do you know what I mean? It's a very, very generic and arbitrary way to target someone, and most people just scroll past that. So you've got to talk to that actual person. You've got to get inside their head before you can actually help them.
Yeah. I suppose in that it always links. It's the way my brain works. It always links back to training, isn't it? You know, it's kind of like me and you could have a chat, and as coaches now, the answer that probably comes out of our mouths the most is it depends. But generally speaking, like, do squats and that'll get you stronger. It's a great lower body exercise, but me and you will go, well, it depends. It depends. Yeah. Is it unloaded? Is it uneven? Is it a goblet squat? Is it a back squat? And I think it's the same with business, regardless of what you're doing, isn't it? It's kind of trying to really drill down that finer detail. And once you've got that, then you can build that progression, can't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's same with business as it is with training. It's like, it's got to be progressive. It's progressive overload. Like, you've got to go back and review what you've done. Like when you're doing a competition, you were training towards that competition. Your competition is your measure of that training. Yeah. So when we are building a business, your members and the increase in your revenue is an indication of how well the business is doing. And as you grow that, like you're going to start learning new things, and you're going to start like understanding more about what it is that you're doing, redefining your message, changing your target audience ever so slightly, and refocusing what you're doing. And that's not to say that like what I'm doing right now will be the same thing I'm doing in 5-10 years time. It's just to say right now, this is what I know that I'm good at. This is what I'm going to focus on. This is what I'm going to push forward the most, because this is how I understand that most people are going to achieve results. Although there are other ways to do it. I mean, obviously for yourself with the kettlebells and stuff, there's benefits over that to using barbell training. Now we use the kettlebells as part of our conditioning, but it's not a mainstream movement for us. Yeah. So it becomes like a secondary or accessory type movement. And the same thing applies in business. Like, you'll start finding things that work, or you think, I'm going to try this, and you try it for a while and it doesn't work. That's okay. That's part of learning with the business. Yeah. No, it's okay to lose, isn't it? Because you just learn. You don't fail. You learn, isn't it? You know, it's like when you miss a lift, isn't it? You know. All right, no, man, that's awesome. So I mean, leaning back onto you touched on earlier, sort of training up for competitions and stuff like that as well. How's your training for the competition going? I know you've just currently changed your coach and stuff like that. How's training for you going, mate? Yeah, it's been really good actually. I stopped training with my coach just before Christmas because I knew we were doing all this stuff with the business. Yeah. Now it's been absolutely non-stop, and I've literally been training. Last week I trained twice a week. The week before was 3 times. So I'm literally doing what I tell most people not to do in terms of I'm doing workouts. I'm not really training. But having said that, I've been doing it for a while now. So I know that all I'm trying to do is just maintain my level of fitness and strength at the moment. Yeah. And I've been posting a few videos on my own page about how much I've improved in strength from just having rest. Yeah. Because I just give my body that time to recover. And I've still been in touch with my coach and sending my coach like little videos of little wins and stuff like that. But I am hoping to compete this year, April maybe, in the British University Championships. So I just need to get the qualification requirements for that, and then hopefully just get in there.
No, nice, mate. So obviously with that in mind, what's going to be the sort of process that you'll take with that? What's kind of the competition cycle for yourself? You know, what will you take on that?
Oh, do you mean what stage?
So you've got that competition in April, yeah. So what you're going to do, because obviously you're just kind of been in maintenance phase at the moment, just sort of. Yeah. So how are you going to build up to that? Do you reckon you're going to give yourself a bit of a solid block and a bit more of a block periodization method of just saying, right, I just need to get strong, then I'm going to try and transfer that into a bit more maximal loading? What's the best way that you found that works for yourself?
Yeah, so like when I first start off, it'll be like a little bit more volume / hypertrophy style stuff. Yeah. And in terms of weightlifting, that still doesn't mean a lot. It's like 5-6 reps or something like that. Yeah. I'll start off with that I'll do the block periodization. So I'll do that over 4 weeks, and then I'll move into like a strength phase where I'll just be building like as much strength as possible, and then obviously like in the next 4 weeks I'll gradually phase into like my peak, and then and just get ready for the competition basically.
Nice, man. And have you found that's kind of like the best periodization model for yourself? Have you just found that's one that actually that just sits well with me? I mean, the reason why I asked that is over the years I've tried different models and different types of periodization, and you can sort of lead yourself down a rabbit hole with the full periodization model. But in terms of just for your own self, is that one that you've just found is probably the most suitable for your lifestyle and the way you get the results you want?
If I'm absolutely honest, I'd say that I haven't found one that's suitable for my lifestyle right now.
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing is with block periodization is like you're always building up to like some sort of high levels, like high intensity stuff on week 4.
Yeah.
By the time I get to that, I'm so fatigued. Like it takes so much mental stamina to be able to do it.
Right.
But on the plus side of that, on the flip side, by the time you've done that and you come to the competition, it's a little bit more relaxed because you've already had all that stress building up to it. And you, obviously, as you get into your peaking stage and you've got your deload, you're a little bit more comfortable because you can feel your body coming into its own. You feel a lot more powerful, a lot more mobile and loose.
Yeah.
So that when you go to the competition, it feels a lot easier. But I wouldn't say block periodization was the best method. Even just for myself, like I wouldn't say it was the best method for everyone, obviously, but even just for myself, I think there's times when I like that varied training. I like aspects of just going, right, today I'm going to do day 2 just because I feel like it.
Yeah.
And then on day 3, I'm going to do day 5 just because I'm probably going to feel stronger then. So I have tended to mix it up in the past, but generally I'll stick to it as much as my coach kicks me up the backside to do it.
Nice, mate. And obviously with your female group training and obviously the group training, your PT and stuff, what sort of approach do you use with them? Because I was speaking to a really high level kettlebell coach and he's a big fan of the conjugate system just because he's building different facets all year round. He just finds that he's building a large base level, and then when he comes up to the main goal, i.e. competition for him, that's when he'll go into a bit more of a structured peaking phase. Is that something that you do with your guys in the gym, or have you got yourself like a different sort of system that you use over there?
Well, what we use in the gym is just like a variation of the block periodization, and we just step that up each week. Yeah. And we just gradually move through stages of like volume training, hypertrophy and strength, and then like a strength phase at the end with a test. And we have like 3 blocks throughout the year. So we've got like 48 weeks already planned out for that.
Ah, nice, mate. Nice. That's really cool, because I think one thing that sometimes people think of group training is it's kind of the coach is just chucking mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's just kind of right, today we'll do a bit of this, today we'll do a bit of that and stuff like that. So what was the tipping point for yourself to say, actually, I'm going to plan out the full 48 weeks of the year kind of thing? What was the sort of, when did you come to that realization of saying, actually, my guys need this level of detail?
It's just because when you're training someone and you want to see a result, like a lot of people start off, they want to see the result around weight loss. They want to see a positive change in weight loss, which is great, that's fine. But then after they've done that for so long, they need to see other results alongside that, because when they first started losing, they might have wanted to lose 10 pounds, and then they lose that 10 pounds, and then they want to move to the next goal. But the next goal is a little bit harder to reach, so you need other things, like other little milestones to reach on that. So if they're doing a deadlift, and you say, right, well, we're going to do 10 reps on the deadlift this week, next week we're going to do 12 reps. You push them to do like what would be a heavy set of deadlifts on that 10 reps, and they don't think they can do any more. But then you give them that rest recovery, they come back next week and they're doing 12 reps. Then they realise, Jesus, I can actually do more. I'm improving, and that's like a small win in just a week's time. And then you just build on that, and that obviously is part of their confidence building as well.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, because I mean, one thing that I found in the past is kind of it's easy to get results in the beginning because one, pretty much everything works, especially if somebody's coming from a detrained effect, but also that initial training effect is just because it's an increase in calorie expenditure. So that's where the weight, and generally they'll go into mung bean stew or the Beyonce diet of hot water and lemon kind of thing. So it's really cool that you think over the long term and stuff. How do you find your clients react to that? Do you actually tell them, like, listen, we've got this planned out for this amount of time? Or do you just sort of say, right, this is the program for the next couple of weeks and this is what we're going to do, this is the session?
No, totally transparent with it. Everything that we do, as soon as they come in the first session, we take them over the board. We show them what the board is, what day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5 is.
Yeah.
How it all works out. Warm up on one side, mobility underneath that. Then we'll go into the main session. What we're going to do there, how it's going to work, and then like any conditioning or accessory work that's on the end, we show them that. We tell them the main principles of like what we're looking for when we do the movements, and then like we'll basically say this is all planned out for the rest of the year. This is like part of a phase that we're in now, and you're in whatever phase they're in, and the next phase is going to be this, and then it's going to be this, and then you'll move into the next cycle, and then it's going to be this, this, and this, and that's how it will work for the rest of the year. And I think like that gives them something to focus on, something to understand that they're actually going to improve on as well. Because I mean, I get what you're saying with the group training and just doing random workouts. I mean, I done a post about it, not to sidetrack too much, but I done a post about it recently, and I said about like people doing class exercises and not seeing results with it. But people were telling me that their clients were toning up and they were losing weight, and I was like, but you've got no measurable outcomes, so how can you say that what they're doing in your class is the result of that and not something else? And they're like, oh, because they told me. But if you have no measurable outcomes, you don't really know how far you've come. So it's really important for us to understand that we've got this program here. We're taking someone from A to B, and once we get a B, we're looking for B to C, and then we just keep on going like that.
No, that's really cool, that makes. I think it's kind of, you're mapping out the journey for them right in front of their eyes. And it's something I do with my guys as well, is kind of, listen, if you said, right, we're going to drive to London, or you're going to drive to Paris or wherever, you'd map out that journey, wouldn't you? Do you know? Yeah. It's kind of like, right, okay, there's so many different ways you can go there. We want to, yes, there's going to be deviations across the world. You might come in one day and you've got a pot on your ankle. As a coach, that's kind of a, right, okay, we're going to change things up a little bit. But I think them milestones that you've got in. So obviously, them milestones, then, is that done through, are you just constantly testing those guys at the end of each phase? Are you doing sort of like a battery of strength tests or movement assessments every single cycle? Or what's your sort of like measurement gauge there? What's your milestone?
Basically, what we're going to take them to is we'll do like simple barbell movements that will just measure their strength, like an overhead press, a squat, a deadlift. When we get to the strength phase, like I'm not too bothered about pushing them through the other phases, because obviously I want them to get stronger. I want them to improve week on week. We're just gonna gradually improve them. And I mean, at the minute we do like a 6-week transformation where we get our members in. We try and get them the best result that we can in the 6 weeks. Yeah. Obviously, giving them all the nutritional guidelines and stuff, not feeding them a nutritional plan that is going to get them results, but not going to teach them long-term results. Yeah. And then after they've done the 6 weeks, once they come on board with us, we're getting a training journal designed as well, so that they can actually monitor their own training progress. And this is a massive thing that I've always seen in the gyms, and probably for yourself as well. Yeah. Some of your listeners, like the members are going into the gym and they're aimlessly like jumping on a leg press. When I've seen someone jump on a leg press and they've got like 15 pounds on it, but they're like someone who weighs like 20 stone, and you can see them moving it with such ease, and you're just like, that person hasn't been told how to perform that properly and effectively, so to get the result that they want. And when we're doing this it's really important to me, when we're doing this with our members, that they understand the training that we're doing with them, so that they can just, even if it's just a simple workout, they can go into the gym and just say, right, I'm going to do this, this, and this today, because I want to feel this here. I want to improve my body composition in this area, or whatever it may be. And they've got an understanding of what they're actually doing.
No, that's really cool, mate. That's really cool. One thing that I've worked on with my online clients, and as you know, online is a complete different beast because there's just so many different variables and stuff. But yeah, it's. I sent this lifestyle tracker to one of my online guys, and the first reply was, "Man, there's loads to track here. There's loads. Like, we're looking at sleep, total calorie intake, what's the splits, what's your working hours, all of these things, total training time, all on this one sheet." And he was like, "There's just loads to track." And my reply was, I want to get the best results possible, and this is what's needed. And I think sometimes the clients will take a step back and could be overawed by that, but also there's a bit of a, right, okay, training isn't separate to the food. Food isn't separate to the sleep. Sleep isn't separate to your work life. It's all one big continuum, and it all merges, and they all have a massive impact. So that's something that I've been rocking out at my place, and especially with the online guys, because I don't get to see them face to face and stuff, and the importance of that, tracking all of those smaller details has a massive impact on all of their training, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I totally appreciate where you're coming from with the lifestyle stuff. I mean, you've got to understand so much about a person. It's really easy when you're doing it face to face, because you get to speak to them, you get to talk to them, like in a social aspect, not just in a coaching aspect. So you learn the habits, you learn the type of personality that they've got, and you can understand how to train them better. Because some of the members that come in and train with us, like I'll literally wind them up into doing more, because that's what drives them.
Yeah.
Like, if they're a little bit ego driven, then I'll use their ego, but to benefit them.
Yeah.
I won't be nasty about it. I'll just say, oh, well, we've got so-and-so member done an extra 10 kilos on that a day, and they've only been here so long. And the members thrive off it. Like, but so obviously for some of them it doesn't work, but it's working as a coach with that individual. And I mean, when you're doing it online, you've got to have all that information. I mean, one of the ways that we looked at doing it online, and one of the ways that we thought about doing it with the lifestyles type of stuff that you're doing there, is putting it in their hands and saying to them, look, what's the things that you can track right now that's going to help you get results? Like, what are you going to be okay tracking right now? And then just start with one thing. And it's just that same principle as, obviously, if you want to get someone to lose 10 kilos, you start with 1 kilo. You don't just jump for the 10 kilos and say you need to do X, Y, and Z to do it. Let's just start at A. Let's get a B, and then C, and then so on. And then it snowballs from there, because it's just changing habits, and habits have got to be changed gradually. Like, if you try and just snap out of something, and these people who do the fad diets, they jump on the diet and it gets them great results, and they boast all over social media, which starts a buzz and a frenzy. All the friends are jumping in on it. But then 6 weeks down the line, literally none of them are doing it, because none of them could adhere to it in the first place. It didn't fit the lifestyle. They're just looking for one size fits all approach. Yeah,
I think one thing that I found is, it's kind of, let's chuck everything in the kitchen sink at it. One of them's bound to work, but for me as a coach, it's actually, in the beginning, let's just go for the low hanging fruit. I mean, for myself, like, if I could get somebody fantastic results, i.e. in Kettlebell Sport, for example, if I can get somebody fantastic results training 3 times a week, 1 day of interval training, 1 day of medium weight, longer duration stuff, and then 1 day of long duration with a lighter weight, real simple, real basic, and add in 10 seconds or 5 reps every single week, and they keep on getting results with that, fantastic. Do you know, like, I want to try and keep it as simple as possible. Like, that minimum effective dose is massive, but also what it does do is it allows you to see, as a coach, to say, well, did that work, or was it that? Or was it, did I add this? I added conditioning, and I added this diet, and I added this, and I added that. And suddenly they're getting results. But it's kind of like, well, which one was it? Because as a coach, you're not growing. And then as the athlete, they're thinking, right, well, to get the results, I have to do this condition. I have to do this type of training. I have to do this amount of sleep. And then they're no further forward. They think they have to do everything. And I think it's really important to try and find that one piece of the puzzle, isn't it, that has a massive impact, because everybody's weird and wonderful in their own way, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're working with someone and you start to realise, like, everyone's motivated at first, and it's like it's that honeymoon period at first where everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm on it. And I'll talk to people on the phone, like I'll do a lot of consultations or whatever you want to call them on the phone, and I'll speak to people, and I say to them, at the end of this call, we'll find out whether you're a good fit. And if you're not a good fit, we'll find out something that is a good fit for you, or something you'll have clarity and focus so that you can move forward with where you're at. Because it's really important to me, and I think that it should be to every other coach, to understand that, like, I'm not the best coach for every single person that's out there, and that's absolutely fine. Like, I want to work with the people who want to work with me, and it's really important to me that I understand that person and I understand where they're coming from. But if I ask someone questions and I get arbitrary answers, or I get like, yeah, I'm okay, yeah, it's fine, I'm getting on okay with it, and I don't get questions and stuff, it's a bit pointless, because you're just having stabs in the dark. We'll try this, we'll try this, we'll try this. And if someone doesn't try it and they say, oh, it just didn't work for me, well, how didn't it work for me? And they can't explain it to you. You don't know where you're going with it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's, again, it goes back to the importance of, like, this client that's moved to Sydney of yours now, do you know? Obviously, she's gone through the process and she has a real good understanding, and she'll be able to jump in any gym. And that's what you want, isn't it? You want to be able to find those little things that work for that individual. It's not about kind of, like, say, chuck everything at them, because, again, once somebody can't work towards that specific thing, then they'll think all of it's going to fall apart. Do you know? They think that actually to stay at this level, I need to be hitting this, and this all of the time, which is true at an elite standard, because the margin for error is really, really small. But I think for a lot of the guys who I train, and a lot of guys who are just kind of weekend warriors and really doing great stuff, but they've got full-time jobs, it's kind of just try and find the best fit for your lifestyle and what works for you, but also go for the low-hanging fruit. Don't try and fix everything in one go.
Yeah, I think like a lot of it just boils down to, like, the mindset of the individual. Like, we are developing something around like a document around mindset, just to basically help people along. Because one of the worst things that you might have seen, and I've definitely seen, is when someone does one of these local like fad style workouts or whatever, where they lose a lot of weight at once. They haven't taught them the principles to understand, like, how they've lost the weight. They haven't taught them the principles of how to maintain that weight loss that they've got, and they haven't taught them the principles of, like, the mindset around that. So what happens when you put an extra 3 pounds on? Because everything basically falls to crap when they put that 3 pounds on, and they end up going back on another binge and putting all the weight back on. It's like a way of, like, cutting the nose off to spite the face. And it's really important to me that they understand that there's going to be highs and lows when you're training, no matter what level you're at. There's going to be highs and lows when you're training, no matter what lifestyle you've got. Like, your work balance, your family life, everything's going to come into play. And I mean, around this time of the year, a lot of people are getting ill and sick and having to swap sessions around. We've had messages left, right and centre from members saying, oh, can I swap my session here and there? And I mean, we've made it a little bit more autonomous, because they can swap their sessions like a lot easier online using our online platform. But, like, for a lot of people, just to simply understand, like, if you get into the habit of going to the gym 5 times a week and you have a day where you feel ill, don't go to the gym, because the chances are, if you're really ill, you're going to make it worse, and then you're going to have a knock-on effect, and you're not going to recover effectively, and then you're going to reduce your chances of getting the results that you want in the long term.
Yeah, and that is absolutely key. And I think that's what I try and do with the guys, in saying, listen, this is why the workouts are structured the way they are. You want that fluidity, and you want to be able to adjust, and the agility to fit around your lifestyle. So on that, what sort of tools and trackers have you got in place for those guys who trying to make them autonomous? Do you sort of get them to track heart rate, or do you get them to track anything like that? Or are you literally trying to upskill them and just to say, listen, you need to understand, one is you're on death's door and you can't get out of bed, probably how you felt on Monday. And 10, feeling great. Is that something that you try and educate them on doing that?
Like, we're looking at a few different ones at the minute, and I know that some of the performance ones that we used at university were based on, like, an emoji, so it's very similar to the rate of perceived exertion scale. So, like, 1 to 10, but obviously using emojis for answer on how someone feels, and then we can gauge the intensity of like how they can work out on that day, because a lot of things can come into play. I mean, I get the whole thing around heart rate variability and the stress levels that people have. I just think it's really tough to ask some of the people, or I feel it's really unfair, so I haven't done it.
Yeah.
To ask some of the members to basically monitor the heart rate on a regular basis. I mean, I know a lot of them wear Fitbits and stuff like that, so my biggest tracker for them would be, are you getting enough steps in? And if they haven't been monitoring it, how many steps are you getting in? Monitor that over 7 days, the same day you would do a nutritional guide. Monitor that over 7 days, and then you've got a starting point, you've got a baseline for where you're at, and then you can move forward with that. But I mean, in terms of stress, like an actual measurement levels and doing all the without doing all the actual tests and stuff like that, we're not trying to go down that avenue. It's more about giving them that self-awareness. Yeah. Like just understanding that it's okay to have the shitty feeling every now and again. Like if you feel a little bit crap about yourself, or you've had a hard day, that's fine. Some days you'll come into the gym and it'll be absolutely fantastic. That workout will have picked you right up. And some days you'll feel a little bit crappy about it. I mean, we had a girl come in yesterday, and she'd had a tough day at work, and she was upset. And it was like it was a little bit more of a slow teaching session because we were doing overhead squats, and it was upsetting for her. It was quite difficult, so we just modified the movement and made it a little bit easier for her, so that she got through the session. She was absolutely fine in the end. Yeah,
no, it's interesting. I mean, it's something that I get my guys to measure that. To try and help them with the auto regulation, but I think because a lot of it, pretty much 80% of my clientele, they're all kettlebell lifters, so they're all trying to get the best outcome of that for their sport. So for me, to try and help with that agile type periodization model, it's something that helps massively. Do you know? But yeah, I totally get it. But it all comes back to self-awareness. And it's always trying to get the client to have an understanding of, listen, you're going to feel like this. But ultimately also, there's going to be times when they come in, they're saying, oh, I'm really tired, I'm feeling really lethargic. And you say, right, just do the warm-up. And then after the warm-up, they're 100% fine. Do you know what I mean? It's trying to get them to feel like, listen, are you really tired? Or is it just the fact you've been sat on your ass looking at TV all day, or sat watching your laptop and stuff, isn't it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the hard thing with that for me is like you've got to ask that in a roundabout way, because you go to someone, oh, is it just because you've been sat on your backside all day? Like some people will just go, yeah, probably, and they'll just be accepting of what you said. But some people are fiery and go, no, I've been busy at work all day. Yeah. And do you know what I mean? And like they both have a different effect. I think it's more in terms of like what you're talking about there is more like a long scale thing. Like I said, it's more self-awareness for them to build moving forward, and the more that they learn about the body, in terms of like what they're feeling and what they're coping with, is really fundamental to how they get the results. I mean, going off on one again, like for women, like what time of the month is it? Yeah. Like understanding that is massive for them getting the results, because they'll come in and say they feel like crap, but at certain phases of their menstrual cycle, they're actually going to perform a hell of a lot better, because the hormones are in a better position to allow them to perform better. They'll recover better. They won't feel storms. Do you know what I mean? And I've noticed that even before I started studying about this, and it's really profound that they understand it, because I didn't know it, and I know that a lot of our members didn't know it before I started teaching them that.
Yeah. Ah, cool. So, how did you actually broach that subject? Because as a bloke, and I'm being very, very general here. At first, it's like, I'm not even going to tackle that. Do you know what
I mean? To be honest, it was more like I'm doing a MSc in sports rehabilitation, and I actually went for a topic that was PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. Right. And when I was actually studying that, I thought, oh, this is quite interesting. So I did the study around resistance training. Can it help polycystic ovary syndrome? There was a lot of research out there about cardiovascular style training, the same as every other type of disease that you get. There's a lot of there's a lot of research behind cardiovascular training and how it can help, but all the results are always short term. So I had to look for some research on resistance training, and then that led me to a guy called Martin McDonald, you might have heard of, doing MNU.
Yeah.
And I purchased one of his. This is quite funny, actually. I was doing all this studying, and bearing in mind that the uni pays an absolute fortune so that we have access to all these journals. And I paid for, I think I paid about £45–50 for this one seminar that he did, and it absolutely, like, it changed my views on it all. I found the research that he'd basically found, and I went through all that, and I pulled out everything that I wanted, and I do a presentation on it, and I got a class grade from it, and I sent him a message, and I said, look, I said, I really appreciate what you've done there. So finding out all that information helped me, like, redo all our nutrition, help the members understand where they're going to, where they're coming from, and going through that menstrual cycle was, like, profound for me, because I thought, like, I've had times when I've been saying to members, come on, push yourself. I know you can do more, but they might be at that stage in the menstrual cycle and they just feel like crap. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, well, that was something that I probably should have known about earlier.
Yeah. No, mate, it's interesting. It's making me want to get out the textbook. So I do and I don't. You know, no, mate, that's awesome. You know, so obviously I don't want to take up too much of your time, mate, because I know you're a busy man taking over Middlesbrough. Although there's probably not many people wanting to take over Middlesbrough, is there?
It's not that bad.
Give you the keys to the city, mate. No, it's like you say. So, just before you go, if you had 5 top tips for anybody who's sort of training towards something, whether that be the kettlebell sport athletes who listen to this podcast or anybody who's just in the gym, what would be kind of the 5 top tips that you'd go to them? If you're saying, right, okay, I want you to try and look out for a coach or do this, and this, what would be your 5 go-to tips from yourself, mate?
Ask them questions. Ask them as many questions as possible. Like, one of the first things is, like, that old saying, curiosity killed the cat. I don't believe. Like, be as curious as you need to. Whenever you're doing training, if you don't understand something, ask the coach. If the coach is a good coach, they'll be able to explain it to you. Able to explain the principles of what's happening. Make sure they're on point with nutrition. They understand your actual needs. So get them to confirm that they know everything that you're going through, what you want to achieve, what the stepping stones are, and then find out what strategy they're going to use for you. Training wise, make sure that you're getting a training program that's probably periodized. I mean, that's a little bit different for people who are brand new doing exercise or anything like that. But if you're already in training, making sure that you're getting a program that's periodized, making sure that you're getting constant contact and communication with a coach, I think is paramount. Getting a general understanding of where you want to go, like, so finding out what your goals are and communicating them really well to the coach. That's 4. I'm lost. Getting your mindset right. Someone who understands like what you're going through is really important. I think that's probably actually the biggest one. If you're going to get a coach and you're looking for someone to coach you, try and find someone that's been through what you've been through. So if you're looking for someone who's experienced like weight loss or problems with back pain or anything like that, find someone that's experienced, someone that's knowledgeable, because anyone can read a textbook and start posting it on their page and say, oh, look, I've got a BSc in this, I've got a level 3 personal trainer in this. But until you actually meet that person and speak to them, you can't actually know how knowledgeable they are and how much they can help you.
Yeah, no, mate, that's awesome. That's awesome. There's some real good ones there. Yeah, totally agree with all of them. And I think mindset and of understanding your goals are 2 that go hand in hand. Because it's something that, like, must frustrate some of my clients, and probably does yourself, is like, oh, I want to get to here, I want to do this. Why?
Know your why.
You know what I mean? Kind of like, because it sounds good, doesn't it? Yeah, but is it what you really want? Is it actually, are you saying I want to weigh 10 stone because that's the conventional weight, or I want to lift 100 kilos because that's triple digits or whatever? Is it something that you really want? So I think, yeah, those last two there, mate, understand your goals and getting your mindset right, definitely go hand in hand, mate, you know.
Yeah.
Good stuff, mate. Right, if anybody wants to reach out to you, mate, what's the best way for them to do that, mate?
Just jump on Facebook. You can find us on Teeside Barbell Club in Stockton-on-Tees or Teeside. You can find us on Instagram, tbc.2015, or you can find myself, Warren Nightingale, on Facebook and just reach out to me direct.
Nice, mate. Nice, mate. That's awesome, mate. I think the guys will certainly appreciate all of that. And guys, for somebody who's been through one of Warren's programs, I got massive gains for it. He kept it really simple, especially for a small-brained individual like myself. But the one thing that he did do is he made sure it fit my goals and it was appropriate for me. So it wasn't kind of, right, you want to get better Olympic weightlifting, Steve, you've got to do 5 days of this, 15 hours of mobility a day, and you've got to do this, and this, and this. He sort of structured it in a way that sort of fit around the bell training and understood that. So, guys, if you're thinking about you want some additional strength work, or if actually you want to add a new skill to combine alongside the kettlebell training, thoroughly recommend reaching out to Warren because he's a great coach, guys. So, yeah, mate, that's been awesome, mate. Thanks very much for giving up your time, and I'll let you get back to the not-so-sunny Teeside.
No worries. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Cheers, pal.